What's up, guys? Another late review for you. I know, they're being really late, but I'm hoping to get all the ones I have up by Monday, and all of the kind of older ones I have before I kind of went on a hiatus on the channel. So please bear with me. And the review today will be for First Man. Let's just jump straight into it. This one opens with the first man himself carrying out a tricky flight test before bumpily landing back on Earth. There's a really great, powerful cast for this one. Of course, Ryan Gosling, whom I've been an avid fan of since Drive. I feel that with each film I see him in, I get to see more of his range as an actor, and he honestly never disappoints, and he was probably the main selling point for why I wanted to see this film. And he is joined by the incredibly talented Claire Foy, who gives an absolutely amazing performance as Armstrong's wife. A woman who's just honestly trying to hold it all together whilst silently falling apart inside. And all of the cast were honestly great. The story is a slow burner. What I loved about the story, however, was how they focused on Neil Armstrong and his own inner demons, how he struggled with his daughter's death and then the consequent deaths, of his fellow NASA, some of his fellow NASA crew members. It showed us the man rather than the mission, and I honestly really highly appreciated that. The story is thanks to the talents of Damien Chazelle. I expected more of the same kind of camera work and shots as, say, in La La Land or Whiplash. But he approached this film in a totally new and fresh way. There was still an abundance of beautiful shots, as well as some scenes with some really shaky and jarring camera movements. Chazelle for me is such a diverse and versatile director, and he's fast becoming one of my favorites. He's just a beautiful and talented director. Beautiful work. Let's talk about the soundtrack, or rather the lack thereof. There are, of course, scenes with a score beneath, but for the most part, a lot of the scenes are completely silent. This is to hit home the absolute monolithic and frightening task that these brave men attempted to accomplish and, accomplished. Most scenes give us a jarring, screeching scream as these rockets, kind of struggle to lift off. The sound dubbing is really on point, and when there is a score, it's used perfectly, especially when the final rocket takes off, for the actual moon landing mission. It's just brilliant. I also really love the historical accuracy for this film. Even though you know that 3 astronauts are about to be killed in a pad fire, it's still a massive gut punch, when it does happen. My only issue with this film is that it's a bit slow and maybe a bit too long, and it's certainly one that doesn't grab you straight from the start. And the main lesson I took from this film was that even the greatest achievements come with the biggest sacrifices. So rest in peace to all the people, all the men that lost their lives chasing after, in pursuit, of the moon landing. So there we have it, guys. There's my review for First Man. Let's just jump into the 2 most important questions. Number 1, would I recommend this film? I would. If you're a fan of Ryan Gosling, Damien Chazelle, if you've seen Chazelle's previous 2 films, Whiplash and La La Land, then you will probably enjoy this. It's a little different. It's a different kind of tone from, say, Whiplash and La La Land. So if you go in expecting more of the same, you may not enjoy it. But if you are a fan of Damien Chazelle, then I would highly recommend this film. If you're a fan of Ryan Gosling, again, I would highly recommend this film. Question number 2, does this film belong in the vault? For me personally, I don't feel like this film belongs in the vault. As I mentioned, I wasn't kind of hooked on this film from the start, and I wasn't then hooked throughout the entirety of the film. The pace was a little too slow for me. And I expected to have kind of a feeling of satisfaction when they finally did land on the moon, but it just wasn't there. I think because it took so long to kind of get there, there were so many kind of deaths and sacrifices to get there. It just kind of felt a little bit, anticlimactic, I guess. So unfortunately, this film will not be going into the vault, as much as I love Ryan Gosling and Damon Chazelle. So there's that little turd-shaped star, and it's gone off onto the moon. But they now probably go. So there we have it, guys. There's my review for First Man. If you liked the film, let me know why down in the comments below. If you didn't, again, let me know why. Always like to hear from you guys. Now up to 23 subscribers. I'm trying to get up to 30 before the end of the year. You know, fingers crossed. You know, if you like what I'm doing here, guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, your pets, your family, dead relatives, grandparents, whatever. Until the next one, peace and love, my dudes.